Hello, I'm Claire Levine Wolf, the President of the Board of Directors of the Rossmoor Fund, and it is my honor to welcome you, our wonderful donors. The pandemic certainly changed everything, and once again, we're unable to celebrate this wonderful moment of your generosity in person. I'm happy that you're able to join us on Zoom or TV 28, so we can offer you our deepest thanks. The thanks comes to you not only from the board, but also from the many, many residents that you have helped this year and the years past. Before we start, I'd like to take a moment to thank the wonderful folks from Channel 28 who helped us to organize this event today on Zoom and on TV 28. I'd also like to thank Penny Reed and the social workers in our counseling service who screen and help residents fill out the application for their grant. And finally, a big thank you to Comcast and Vitalink Medical Systems. They have generously underwritten this event for us. That means that we don't have to use your donations to pay for this, so we give them great thanks. The Rossmoor Fund was started 12 years ago by David Smith. He no longer is a resident, but the thoughtfulness of the creation of the Rossmoor Fund certainly lives on. David had been president of the GRF, and he could see the needs of residents for emergency, unexpected expenses. When you're on a fixed income, this can be very disturbing. Our mission statement also includes developing and funding educational programs that benefit the entire community, in addition to these individual grants. I'd like to show you what our grant application looks like. It's a simple one-page document. We don't ask for a lot of documentation. We find that residents in Rossmoor are hesitant as is to apply and ask for help. So we keep this very simple, and we just ask them to sign it and attest that it's honest. And I can tell you, in the 12 years, we have had no fraud. So that's been a wonderful example of how kind our residents are and thoughtful they are in using your donations. Food resources is an area that we focused on a lot this year. So we have Safeway gift card programs, and we fund Meals on Wheels for Rossmoor residents. We also have a respite care program, which with Jewish Family Service, we provide a caregiver to go into the home of people who are taking care of their relatives who have dementia. This gives them, the caregiver, a few hours to go out and do a simple thing like some food shopping or getting a haircut, and knowing that their loved one is taken care of by a professional. We also have some essential home services, and we're delighted that we partner with Davis Home Pro, who makes this very attractive for us and only charges us for the materials and not for their labor. We also have a service where we will come in and clean someone's home for them on a one-time basis, and that can really make the difference in getting yourself back on track. We also are proud of the program that we co-sponsor with Vitalink Medical Alert Systems. And we have provided medical alert systems for many, many residents in Rossmoor. It's a security that really is helpful. I know I have one too. We also have had seminars on health and homeowner protection. So this applies to a large audience in Rossmoor, and we're very proud of these, and Diane will be telling you more about this later. Our grants are made with you in mind. So you're sitting in the room with us when we are having our meetings and saying, should we approve this grant or not? Because we always think, can we tell a donor when we meet them that this is what we did with your money, and would we be proud of that? And I think I can tell you that in every case, you would be. I'd like to now introduce Diane Portnoff, a board member who will tell you more about the programs that we had this year. These are accomplishments that relieved the pain and worrying of residents, and it was all through your generosity and kindness.
Hello, As Claire said, the pandemic changed everything. It changed all of us and presented challenges none of us could have imagined. We chose this year's theme, Without You, not without you, but the theme Without You, because the Rossmoor Fund never could have adapted to the dramatically changed and significant increased needs of people in our Rossmoor community. I'd like to highlight just a few of the areas where your generosity made a huge difference to a significant number of our neighbors. While it's not usually an unexpected emergency expense, the top critical need during this period of time has been food. The fund has used your donations to assist in sponsoring Meals on Wheels for Rossmoor residents, as well as Safeway gift cards for people in need, some of whom who actually had empty refrigerators. We sent out over 150 Safeway gift cards to residents who we knew were teetering on the edge. And because we ordered so many, we were able to negotiate a discount on the cards and stretch your donations even further. Of course, other needs continued. Medical, dental, hearing and vision issues never let up, and those skyrocketing bills needed to be paid. When a fire destroyed the homes of 6 residents, the Rossmoor Fund immediately offered each of them a donation to meet their immediate living expenses. Mobility was still a pressing issue for some. One couple in Rossmoor found they could no longer access their front door without an unaffordable stair lift. Without you, we would not have been able to provide that lift and give them the freedom to go out. Caregiver respite was still needed by so many in Rossmoor who had been providing 24/7 care for spouses or parents. The pandemic and the restrictions it imposed on all of us gives a deeper understanding to the term 24/7. Without you, we would not have been able to provide those caregivers with the respite breaks they deserve and so desperately need. And medical alert devices for the safety of many of us who live alone became even more critical. Some residents apply for them, but with the increased isolation due to the pandemic, the Fund Board made the decision to offer these devices to every individual grantee of the last 2 years. As a result, 24 residents are being protected by these devices. As you probably know, the Rossmoor Fund is a California charitable foundation, meaning that your gifts are tax deductible, and it is independent of the Golden Rain Foundation or any other entity. The Fund Board works diligently to be good stewards of your generous donations. There are asset and income tax for grant eligibility, as well as limits to the grant amount any one resident may receive during a given period of time. In keeping with its mission to educate, the fund has also sponsored Zoom webinars for the whole community during the pandemic. Seminars on medical alert devices, legal issues, and wellness. And while responding to all of these needs, this year we were able to continue building the Rossmoor Fund's endowment, an important hedge against any possible future catastrophic events. Without you, we couldn't have done any of this. Thank you. And now Board Member Donna Reynolds will lead us in honoring you, our generous donors.
Hi everyone, I'm Donna Reynolds. First of all, I'd like to clear up some confusion on our fiscal or campaign year. For accounting purposes, our fiscal year runs from September 1st to August 31st. During this past fiscal year of September 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2021, we had 469 separate donations totaling $212,638.48. Both of these numbers are records for the Rossmoor Fund and way beyond what we expected during the pandemic. This pandemic has led to much agonizing loneliness, isolation, and exhaustion. You responded by your customary thoughtfulness. Without you and overwhelming generosity, there would have been a lot more suffering. I would like to read the names of our largest donors for this past year, as they are shown on the screen. Our heartfelt thanks go out to all of these extremely generous people. On our platinum level, which is our top level, which is donations of $10,000 plus, we have one anonymous donation, Black Family Charitable Fund, Philip Johnson. On our gold level, which is $5,000 to $9,999, we have Rossmoor Properties, Inc., Rossmoor Railroad Roundhouse, John Shanley, H.C., and Bung Fung Tong. On our silver level, which is $2,000 to $4,999, we have one anonymous donors, Boomers Forever Club, Byron Park Senior Living, Comcast, Naya DeLise, who sponsored this program, Martha Douglas Pigeon, M. Eccles, Mutual of Omaha Reverse Mortgage, Susan Foley, Nancy Gann, Kenneth and Susan Gundry, John Kikuchi and Deborah Coggins, Celia Mason, Timothy and Denise O'Keefe, Rossmoor Golf Club Men's Division, Rossmoor Garden Club, and the Smith Family Trust. On our bronze level, which is $1,000 to $1,999, we have three anonymous donators, David E. and Bobby R. Behrensfielder Charitable Fund, Barry and Donna Bryan, Barbara G. Kahn, Celeste Chin, Charles and Camilla Clare, Carol Colligan, Computer Club of Rossmoor, Richard Dupel, Susan K. Fisher, Lee and Shirley Griffey, Doreen Gustafus, Skip and Sue Hoyt, Nancy and Bruce Kaufman, Patricia Keith Spiegel, Robert and Linda Corson, Donna Lenderos, Alice Lau, Tom and Diane Mader, Zina Mirsky, Thomas Francis O'Leary, Judy Olson, Ellen Gil Pastore, Cheryl and Mark Patterson, Barbara B. Phillips, Michael and Betty Rosenheimer, Rossmoor Chamber Music Society, Rossmoor Women's Collective, Peter Scully, Andrea Centermy, and Gail Westerdorf and Laura Kim. And so here is a list coming up on the next screen of the members of our Legacy Society, residents who have indicated that they are mentioning the Rossmoor Fund in their beneficiary, as a beneficiary in their estate. By the way, if you're interested in finding out more about this or joining the Rossmoor Fund Legacy, please go to rossmoorfund.org, where you will find more information as well as an intention form. The members of the Society, Legacy Society, are Sue DiMaggio Adams, Jean Autry, Sandra Maria Cavallo, Louise Dibble, Bill and Wendy Dorband, James Comerford and Ellen Gilman, Susan Krasna, one anonymous person, Diane Portnoff, Lynn Lively and Nathan Roundy, Donna C. Reynolds, Richard and Linda Scheffler, David and Sherry Smith, Rita Wilcox, and Claire Levine Wolfe. And now we'd like to scroll the names of all of our generous donors for the last fiscal year. September 1st, 2020 to August 31st, 2021. Each of you who has given their gift generously with kindness and consideration, we thank and honor all of you. And please stick around after you see your name, because Bill Leary has one more honor to bestow.
Thank you for joining us today. Before we close this event with a toast from the board of the Rossmoor Fund to you, our donors, I'd like to share a few thoughts with you about vulnerability and about our theme for this year, Without You. I'd also like to share a few expressions of gratitude from some of those who you helped this year. Expressions of gratitude take many forms. Ironically, just a few weeks ago, we received an expression of gratitude that we can't easily share with you. Cookies. We found these in our mailbox at Gateway as a thank you to all of us. We would love to share these with you, but as you know, we're still not able to gather together. Now, of course, this pandemic has had much greater impact upon all of our lives than not being able to gather together today. But I just have to say this. We have got to stop meeting like this, by which, of course, I mean virtually. We miss you. We miss the opportunity to have us all together here in the event center so that we can thank you in person and so that you can acknowledge and thank one another. I think many of us first thought that this pandemic was real in our lives on March 15th, 2020, when our governor issued his first COVID order. It did two things. First, he essentially shut down every bar and tavern in the state, and that bothered some people. But far more importantly, he said to all of us, 65 and older, that we were especially vulnerable to this new mysterious virus, and that for our protection, he believed we needed to isolate ourselves, lock down in our own homes indefinitely. Now, some of us were unnerved at just being reminded that we're considered by society to be old, especially those like me who think that old is 15 years older than I am at the moment. But being told that because of our age, we were especially vulnerable to a highly contagious and deadly virus, well, that was a lot more than unnerving. That was scary. And I think it required us to, maybe for the first time in a long time, think about what it really meant to be vulnerable. And I think it was natural for us to perhaps think about people we know who were already vulnerable. Maybe somebody with a serious illness, or disabled, or with a significant financial problem. We may and we probably were thinking, for them, things are about to get much worse. We may, for example, thought of a neighbor we know who's alone and often lonely, who now suddenly wouldn't be able to have a close friend or a relative visit them in their home. We may have thought of a neighbor who we knew already struggled to secure and afford groceries or medications or a dental and medical procedure, and how much it's going to be much more difficult and perhaps expensive for them. We may have thought of a neighbor who was taking care of their spouse with the help of a relative or other caregiver, who now, for safety reasons, was going to have to provide that care 24/7, all by themselves. These are some of the people that the Rossmoor Fund was created to help. Which brings me to our theme for this year, Without You. Because even with vaccinations, this even more contagious and dangerous Delta variant continues this year to impact our lives and to cause those who are most vulnerable among us to continue to suffer. And we continue to help them this year only because you continue to support the Rossmoor Fund. We could not do this without you. Without you, we could not have helped this resident afford a needed dental procedure that was expensive. I am absolutely overwhelmed, she wrote, with relief and gratitude for the gift covering the balance of my dental work. Without you, we could not have helped this resident who desperately needed a medical alert device. She wrote, "Thank you so much for your help. When one gets sick and can't walk, things get very difficult, and the alarm system is very much appreciated. God bless." Without you, we could not have helped the exhausted caregiver who wrote, "Your generosity allowed me to receive some well-needed respite. I was drowning in providing care for my husband day and night. With your help, I was able to get away and breathe for a few hours every week. Words can't express how grateful I am. Without you, we couldn't have helped this hungry resident who wrote, my only income is my Social Security disability check and my reverse mortgage. So this Safeway card will go a long way to help fill my fridge and my pantry. Thank you to the many generous donors here in Rossmoor who keep the fund going. And finally, without you, we could not have helped this resident who simply said this, how can I ever thank you for your generous help? This could only happen in Rossmoor. You are all angels. Indeed, she's correct. You are all angels and heroes to those of us who are privileged to be on the board of the Rossmoor Fund. So at this time, I'd like to invite my fellow board members to join me here for a toast to you, our donors. Thank you. We, the board of the Rossmoor Fund, raise our glasses to honor and thank you, our donors, for your compassion, your generosity, and your kindness toward our most vulnerable neighbors in need. We could not do this without you. And so, from each and every one of us to each and every one of you, thank you and cheers.